Well, with round 3 ahead of us, a great time to check out Freddy's power rankings. Brad Fittler's alongside me. Nice to see you as always, Brad. Let's get straight into it. Starting from the bottom and heading up in 10th position, you've got the Roosters, but the big talking point really surrounds the team in 9th. The big mover, the Storm, dropping from 2nd down to 9th, Brad.
Well, it was the first time that has been noticeable, the missing of Cooper Cronk. So, young Brady Croft's a fine player, but there was no doubt the other night they had 18 penalties, plenty of opportunities to come down and score a try, and they couldn't quite come up with it. The only time they scored a try was when the Tigers were down to 12 men. So it says a lot about what they're doing with the ball at the moment, the Melbourne team. They got about 30 away against South the week before, but I thought came down to Cameron Munster really, but this was a big effort by the Tigers and they didn't have much to show for at the Storm. All
right, let's continue up the ladder. The Cowboys are the next team in 8th position, and we head up even further, the Broncos, the two Queenslanders, 7th and 8th respectively, but it's the Panthers who've slid despite going back-to-back to start the year. Yeah,
they've slid from number 3. The fact is allowing teams to get out to 14 points isn't going to end well. So the fact is, they needed to be better earlier. Simple as that. I think that really comes down to Peter Wallace and James Maloney. They've had opportunities down there. Wonga Blake's been fantastic. And without Wonga Blake and Nathan Cleary, I've got to say they'd be sitting with no points because both teams turned up to play, South Sydney and Parramatta, and had the better of them for a long time. But beautiful bit of work by Peachy. Came on with 15, 20 minutes to go and got the result. Absolutely brilliant end to a game.
Absolutely, it was a cracker. They've got the Bulldogs this weekend. Now, continuing with your power rankings, just above the Panthers, the Manly Seagulls, they've gone up from 10th last week in Freddy's power rankings. The Warriors from 6th to 4th, but it's the Newcastle Knights jumping from 5th to 3rd on the back of their consecutive wins.
Yeah, well, the first game was always going to be an emotional one. The fact is they played Manly up at home in front of 20 to 30,000 people, and the emotions sort of got them home. Mitchell Pearce kicked the field goal, but then going down to Canberra, it's a big ask. It's a big footy team. It's a totally different surface, but they did an unbelievable job. Once again, they held their nerve. Kalen Ponga, playing with such maturity, and he stays contract, whatever everyone was talking about earlier, it looks like they've got themselves a bargain, the Knights, but across the board, their energy, and not only energy, they're competent. We've got all these young blokes, but they're all on the same page. A nice try from Mitchell Pearce there, laying on a try.
They're looking good.
I like them. They've got the Roosters this week. It's a step up in class without a doubt, but fantastic starting 2 weeks for the Knights.
Certainly is. So too the Tigers. They sit in 2nd spot, up from 4th in Freddy's power rankings from the previous week, but number 1 after winning both their matches and having to come from behind to do so against the Sharks, the St George Illawarra Dragons, Brad.
Yeah, and they've put their chin out, the Dragons. They had the Broncos the first round with the halfback that come from the Broncos, and they got the local derby at Cronulla playing against, a very experienced team. They got beat the week before. So, they're no slouches, both their opposition. They come up with Trump. So down 10 points at half time. That was Nano McDonald's try. That got them just to the break within the 10 points. And then afterwards, they just never stopped. And I've got to say, the Sharks, for whatever the Dragons were doing, in the way they were tackling, in the way they were getting under their skin, they just got to them. Well, James Graham did a fantastic job. Ewan Aiken actually saved the try just before that and come down and scored a try. He had a brilliant game, Ewan Aiken. So they're in fine form. They've got the Titans up at Toowoomba this week. They've played 2 night games, so this is a bit of a difference, and it'll be a totally different scene up there. So it'll be interesting how they react to that. But at the moment, they look like they're going nice and strong, and they're the best of the teams at the moment.
Well, that'd be a big win on the road for them. Let's look at your player power rankings, and one of the players to feature this week is a Dragon himself. Remarkable try. He scored 2, Nano McDonald last week against the Sharks.
Well, I realised how good this try was when I spoke to Corey Oates the day after, and he actually mentioned how good it was. When you're getting praise from other wingers, you're doing something good. Have a look at this. How on earth he can get that ball within that line without his feet going out is absolutely beyond me.
Yep, just inside the chalk.
I'm not sure if I could do that.
It's good to watch. Looking at the rest of Freddie's power rankings when it comes to the players in 9th position this week, Tyrone Peachy, that late burst.
Saved the day.
How good was it? Jonathan Thurston, wasn't he amazing throughout? That loss for the Cowboys.
The mercurial, I don't know what that word means, but mercurial.
It's a great word for Jonathan Thurston. And Dally Cherry Evans in 7th. He was outstanding. But you mentioned this young bloke before, number 6, Kalen Ponga, who seems to be the bargain buy of the off-season for the Knights.
Absolutely brilliant. He's got nothing going for him, this kid. What is he, 19? He's on a fortune. He's up living in a beautiful place like Newcastle. And you can see he's happy. Have a look at the foot he's playing. His footwork's incredible. Late on a try last week with a very similar play, but he scored himself last week. He's got that little jink, which is... He nearly went to do the jink again then, but late on that try as well. He runs strong and he saves tries. He's a try saver. Try saver, try scorer.
Goal kicker.
Try assister. Goal kicker. Look at this, just creating opportunities non-stop. But he has been absolutely brilliant for the Knights early on. And what it does do, it gives them confidence.
Yep.
You know, as a player, when you know you can score tries and you know you've got players that can break the line, then it gives you confidence that when you're doing your tackles and all that and you're going through the grit of the game, that something's good at the end of it. And that's what him and Mitchell are doing at the moment. They're providing confidence that they can score tries.
How good.
How good.
Let's return to your rankings. We're halfway up the list. Let's have a look at the top 5 in 5th position. Another Dragon, Ewan Aiken, been great. No,
he saves them and scores them.
He certainly does. And number 4, Luke Keary came back with a bang after missing round 1. He was in outstanding form against the Bulldogs, Brad.
Yeah, well, he was the missing piece of the puzzle. They looked really predictable last week, but it's his little raids down blind sides, his support there, obviously. They had an opportunity very similar about 5 minutes earlier, and then they mucked it up. But his little combination with Teddy, I love the reaction when he comes down to Cooper Cronky. I thought he was going to give him a kiss. He's only known him for a week. My God. But he is definitely the missing piece. He's just got that energy and he keeps the defence on their toes. And while he's doing that, then Cooper can be setting up other stuff that he wants to do. So I thought he was awesome. Interesting
to see how they go against the Knights this weekend. Number 3 in Freddie's power rankings for players, Tavita Pengai Jr.
He's a beast.
He had a little bit of help from the goalpost, but if it wasn't for him, he probably wouldn't have seen Scotty Bolton end up in the goalpost. Number 2, though, been great seeing this guy in some form. He's had some help to get him there. Sean Johnson for the Warriors.
Well, he puts bums on seats. I know a lot of people are talking about Roger, but I thought Sean's the one that's been really putting the pressure on the defence. Every run, look at that. What about that?
He wasn't even looking at the ball then when he regathered that.
Every run, he just seems to, he feels free, looks free. The other thing is the defence and his teammates, sorry, not the defence, his teammates are not getting in his road. So obviously Sean Johnson's sending the message to his teammates at training and every day they're around that I mean business, and when he does that, they know what he can do. So he's in brilliant form at the moment, and you know, with footy season about to start for juniors, he's someone that gets people registering. He gets people watching footy. He gets people going to the footy. So when Sean Johnson's playing good, he's good for footy.
Drum roll for the number 1 player in Freddie's power rankings. And, geez, I tell you what, leading into this season, there's no way anyone would have picked this. Benji Marshall, the man of the moment, helping the Tigers to 2-0 to start the season, Brad.
All class. All class. Now, there's things you most likely be critical of Benji over the last since he left footy a long time ago, though he did a really good job last year at Brisbane. But what he's done to this team is he's just given that little bit of composure, that little bit of belief that if you just hold on, we'll get a result. And he's just he's been finding touch, his defence has been sound, but it's what he's doing in between, and it's what he's doing for the players, their mindset. Been absolutely brilliant. Hopefully Josh Reynolds is sitting back and just watching exactly what he's doing, because that's what they need from Josh Reynolds. They need energy. He's doing his runs. He's making his tackles. But they just need that right decision at the right time. Just kick it out. Take your time, This is our game. Let's not get flustered and let's not play to their tune. This is our tune and play the way we want, and he's doing a brilliant job.
If Josh Reynolds was fit this weekend, would he be in that
you couldn't take Benji out at the moment. But like I said, I'd love Josh to be on the field with Benji, just to get that vibe of how it's going and when he's kicking out and just the tone of his voice. And it comes in a lot of different ways, but at the moment he's just putting a real calming effect over his team and giving them the confidence that, you know what, if we just keep tackling, something's going to come of this.
How good. Brad, this is fun. Every Wednesday we're going to be doing this.
In the power room, Tracy's room.
It feels good, doesn't it? This studio. Hey. It's good fun. Thank you, Brad.
I got to get me. They're all too far away.
There's a lot of cameras, a lot of TVs in here.
Flick to that one, ready? Set, go. Yeah, you mean?
Get it off me. Go the wide shot. Thank you, Brad. They are Freddy's player and team power rankings ahead of round 3 in the National Rugby League.